Well, how y'all doing tonight? Um, yeah, I just want to share, share a thought I had, a memory that I had with you about a guy I used to know in high school. I think his name was Terrell or something like that. But anyway, I just, I'm sitting up here remembering the guy, because he definitely was an interesting individual. Um, kind of tall and lanky. Uh, but I remembered him because I remember, the one thing that kind of stood out about him, was the fact about just how fast he was. The boy was fast, but as awkward as all I know, I'm like, my goodness, when I say awkward, the man was awkward, and he had got it in his head, somewhere along there that he was called to be the next the next football star. He was called to be the next Ronnie Lott or somebody, or Bo Jackson, and he even went, and tried out for the football team. And of course, everybody could see on the field that he was fast, but when I say the boy was awkward, I mean he had fingers like noodles. I mean he couldn't catch a ball if you glued it to his hand. And he just seemed to run right into tackles. Like, if the open space was over there, he would go run up over here and into the tackle. That's what he would go do. uh, and of course, it became, obvious to everybody, during the tryouts, like, this really wasn't his thing. And, what's interesting, the coach even offered him a position on the football team, but it wasn't as a running back or a quarterback or whatever else he imagined. It was like as a water boy type thing. And amazingly, the man humbled himself, and I guess he went on and even accepted the position as a water boy or whatever the coach's helper type. Uh, I guess just to be on the team. And of course, as this time went on, found out, even though he wasn't good, as a player, he turned out to be good, as a assistant coach. He went from a helper to the coach to learning all the plays and learning, all of the ins and outs. And so eventually he became a assistant coach, and then years later he would go on to become a coach, and years later he would even begin to get fame in this role of his. And it stuck out to me because I just remember something he said years later as he began to get statewide acclaim for just being a great coach. He said if he hadn't humbled himself, and accepted the role, that God gave to him, that he would have wound up missing his true calling. And that just kind of reminded me of sometimes, us in our Christian walk. Sometimes we suffer from the same problem. We be focused on, trying our best to be or do what we think, we will look good in. When really, God has a whole nother thing for us. And it just reminds me of the scripture, in John chapter 3, verse 27, where John the Baptist he's out there baptizing, and Jesus is out there and baptized with his disciples, and John's disciples grow jealous, and they come to John the Baptist and they say, "Hey, John, look, Jesus is baptizing, people too, and all of the people are now starting to go to Jesus. And John says something, real wise. John says that a man cannot receive nothing unless it's been given to him from heaven. And then he says something that, really we should take, mind of. He says that he must increase and I must decrease. John humbled himself and accepted the position that God gave him. And because he did, family, of course, he went down in history books. And so, my encouragement to any of the family out there tonight, is if you are struggling with, trying to get something or do something or be something, family, that, God ain't quite cut out for you, family, just humble yourself, and accept the roles that God gave you to play, because you never know. It might wind up to be a leading role, family, after all. Think about it.